afternoon and welcome to the Think Local First radio show. I'm your host, Matthew Swinnerton. Each week we talk with local entrepreneurs, local business owners. We talk about how they started their business, what are their challenges. We just talked to, last week we had Derek from Pleasure Pizza. He said that when he bought the business, the city didn't even know it existed, even though many of them ate pizza the day before. So there's a lot of challenges that as a new entrepreneur has to face opening up a business. But then what we talk about, my favorite part, is what drives and motivates you to do what you do as an entrepreneur. It's not always easy. It's not always the money, which we talked about last week, and we're talking a little bit about this week. It's mostly about your passion for something. So we're going to talk about that. So this is episode number 3. We've had 3 episodes. We've really, for a new show, I think we started off, it's been a great start. We had the owners of Assembly and Picnic Basket, Santa Cruz Waves, Santa Cruz Core Fitness. The list goes on and on just for the last few weeks. And we want to keep the ball rolling. We have this week 3 amazing guests. We're going to start off with Darren Oden from Oden Creative Media. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
So he is as his LinkedIn profile says, the SW software architect and creative director of Oden Creative Media. So this is exactly what you would like to do on Saturday, 2 o'clock, right?
Absolutely.
Great. Well, we're happy to have you here. And then we have Christopher McGilvray. Did I say it right?
Matthew, you totally did, man. You nailed it.
It's really sad. I am with Chris. I see him every few days, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
Most people don't even go there. It's okay.
so Chris,
but you actually nailed it. When it really mattered. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
So he, Mr. Chris, is the founder, director, producer at Six Finger Films. That sounds to me like a lot of stuff. I mean, we can founder, director, producer, editor, totally. Window washer.
Yeah, totally.
You know what, that's
you
bills
work
and
in
stuff.
Films, right?
Yeah.
You get like 8 different job titles, right?
Oh my God.
In a movie.
Yeah. On the independent film scene.
Isn't that the cool part about making films now? Is like, you can, with a Mac, you can do so much. It's like your whole studio is right there. You don't need 40 people to make one aspect of the film.
Yeah, it's totally true.
That's cool.
The democratization of the technology has just really, kind of brought the whole thing into your hands so that, you can do some really exciting, cool stuff with a really small group of people.
Awesome. So we're going to talk to Chris a little bit more about that.
Believe it.
Then we have, last but not least, we have William Au, owner and manager at University Business Park and owner / broker, at Au Properties. Sorry about that. All of a sudden I heard like this car that passed by in my earphones. I don't know what that was.
Sound design.
Yeah. So he is, I guess, or Au Properties is, I would say, the owner of half of all the commercial properties in Santa Cruz and Scotts Valley. Isn't that true? I mean, when do you not?
That's rumor.
Wow.
That's rumor.
Okay.
That's rumor.
Going right in there.
So, who is? I mean, I was thinking about that. Like, is there like a big family or like company that owns a lot? Like, what are the other entities that own a lot of Santa Cruz? Can you think of any by chance?
There are a lot of families that own a lot of property in Santa Cruz, but I don't think they make up of any majority. The Canfields have a lot lot specifically downtown and on the west side and so on.
But no, like.
There's no one person that has it all for sure.
Don't the Odens own about half of it?
They're working on it.
I'm pretty sure that we're still working on that.
We're working on the first one.
Yeah, me too.
I just need one to start though.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta have a starting point.
Okay, so what was the news of the week in town in Santa Cruz? I don't know. I was trying to think of it and I couldn't think of one, and the one that popped out in my head was it rained.
That was
a great one.
That was pretty big.
Huge.
Yeah.
That was pretty massive.
It rained a couple of times. We even had thunderstorms.
That was yesterday, right?
Yeah, totally.
Did you see that ominous cloud that just came through? It was like just this one humongous cloud.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. It's
really
funny though, like just the overall, everybody's like, it's raining. It's raining. Like everybody was so excited.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so that was a pretty big thing. What else? Anybody know of anything else that happened this week besides raining? Any big thing in town?
One I was going to touch on is I know that it was in the paper, but university just got a big award to build a pretty significant facility over at the Long Marine Lab.
Okay.
They're going to do, I think, a new marine biology facility to the tune of like $51 million. So
wow.
That's gigantic.
That's pretty big.
Awesome.
So I think what that'll do is that'll actually bring a lot of the university departments related to that down to that. But I think what it'll do is it'll free up a bunch of other departments and other space where they're currently occupying, which is we're in high demand for space right now in town, and that's a really good thing. So it's once a vacuum is created, someone will always fill it. So
do you know where they're planning on building that out?
I think it's right next to the new NOAA facility where they do the hatchery. So when you drive into the Long Marine Lab, I think it'll be right there immediately on your left. And $51 million is even at university pricing still will build a big facility. So I heard somewhere in the tune of maybe 100,000 feet or something like that. So that's a
sizable.
That's a big facility.
Yeah, for sure.
That is something big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 3. We mentioned amazing guests. When I think about our guest today, I really think about the creative side. We have a filmmaker, a designer, and even though at first glance you wouldn't think that William, from outward appearance, I don't know if he is actually creative, I don't know if he's a painter or anything, but when I think of say the University Business Park, God, that's more than just putting squares and boxes of people together. That's really creating a community. And that's really, I think that's very creative. So we have 3 creative entrepreneurs in our studio today. Do you have a question to them? That's not really an easy thing to do. How are you a creative person and a same time entrepreneur? A lot of times people, when they think of creative person or artist, they think starving artist. They can't make any money. These have, and they're supporting their families. So if you have a question or a comment, please call 831-479-1080. That's 479-1080. Or you can email Matthew at Event Santa Cruz, and I will ask your question. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with Chris.
Yeah.
So Chris, what was it? What was the initial bug that got you into film? Or, just like did filmmaking just plop in your lap?
Well, I'm one of those people that really can truly say that I've pretty much always wanted to be a filmmaker. I remember, when I was a kid, even from, age 7, 8 years old, movies just absolutely fascinated me. It's like, you just get to experience this whole other world, and you get to see it through a brand new, unique perspective that you've never seen before. And, the magic of that just, totally caught me from a very, very young age. And so, I always kind of dabbled in film. Used to play around, with my brother, and I used to, make home videos and, do kind of, fun little scenes and everything. And then I went to film school at USC right out of high school, and knew I really wanted to get into film as a living. And when I went to SC, one of the things that I found was that film school happens to be really geared towards kind of the Hollywood studio system, which a lot of people know a lot about and have a lot of negative things to say. I don't necessarily have positive or negative things to say. It's just that for me, that wasn't necessarily the way that I approach the art form. I'm a storyteller, and I kind of like to tell a little bit more personal, interesting, smaller stories. And so, I had to find a different path to be able to do that. And I got really lucky that I ended up getting to do that at a time where, the new technologies have really enabled filmmaking to be a lot cheaper. And so it's a lot more affordable, it's a lot more accessible. I started by shooting films with a DSLR, which, basically meant that all of a sudden, something that used to cost, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to be able to, make something that, could stand up to, major motion picture, all of a sudden could be done for a couple $1,000s with a couple of people. And so, when all of a sudden you can bring the scale back down on the financial side, it opens up a lot for the creativity. So that was kind of a fun time to get involved in that.
So then how did you support yourself? What's the economics of being a filmmaker?
So, I'm a narrative filmmaker by trade. That's really was always my passion. Narrative filmmaking is basically the, kind of things that you see at the movie theater. Traditionally, they're scripted, they have actors, they require lots of people, lots of money, that kind of thing. I absolutely love the language of cinema, the way that people communicate, the way that, using the camera in different ways or sound design or music actually affects the emotional tone of the film and everything. And, that's all fantastic, but it's extremely difficult to make a living doing that. Mm-hmm. So what I found was that I was able to bring that unique perspective to kind of documentary profile pieces for corporate clients. And so one of the things that I've been able to do to sort of differentiate myself is that, I'm a pretty good storyteller. So I'm pretty good at, being able to sit down with somebody, listen to their story, understand their business, and, synthesize that into a story that will relate to people that know absolutely nothing about their business or nothing about, what it is they're trying to sell or trying to do. And, I can utilize the filmic language, understanding, what's the best, way to use close-ups versus wide shots versus dolly shots versus sound design and all that stuff to make the most effective piece of communication possible.
Did you always work for yourself? Like you were always like I'm totally in control, or did you study under someone? Did you how do you learn the ropes?
It's a really interesting question because it's a bit of both. I mean, I went to USC and I had some great professors that I learned from, but I have also largely been self-taught. I'm the kind of guy that, when I find a film that I love, I will watch it 100 times because the complexity of the art form is so dense. And, literally it always makes me laugh when I meet someone who's a filmmaker, wants to be a filmmaker, and says that, I only watch a movie once, and I totally understand. Man, it's impossible. I mean, there are so many art forms that go into making a film. I mean, you have the writing, you have the acting, you have the sound design, you have the cinematography, you have the way that the editing moves. And so I, will literally go through and watch a movie over and over again. Sometimes I'll watch a foreign film and turn the subtitles off and literally not pay any attention to the dialogue so that I can focus specifically on the camera work, on the editing, on maybe the music and the score and how those things are working together.
Light design, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, well that's perfectly comes into our commercial time, so thank you very much. So next we're going to find out I guess a little bit about Darren Oden, and we want to find out, what was his career path from, because I know it's very diverse. So we're going to find out. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
The first thing they look at is your shoes. Hi, I'm Ellen Gill.
And if they see you in shoes and socks from Sock Shop and Shoe Company, they'll likely look up to you. Hello, I'm Eric Gill.
Sock Shop and Shoe Company has proudly outfitted Santa Cruz County in the best footwear for more than 25 years.
And with your support, we've turned our little Sock Shop and Shoe Company into a one-of-a-kind shoe store that attracts shoppers worldwide.
As the quintessentially locally owned Santa Cruz store, Sock Shop and Shoe Company proudly supports the efforts of Think Local First to promote the locally owned and independent businesses that make our community a special place to live and work.
And we hope you keep in mind all the local entrepreneurs who provide us with such wonderful variety of places to eat, work, and live, and who build a strong local economy for all of us. When you head out to shop, please remember to
think local first. People will look up to you.
From apples to zebras? Well, you can buy anything online, except peace of mind and professional, caring advice. Hello, I'm Matthew King of King Insurance and Financial. Our family-owned agency is celebrating its 50th anniversary, providing Santa Cruz County businesses and residents with valuable advice. King Insurance is proud of being recognized as experts on the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare, as well as on the insurance products you need to protect your business, home and auto, and on the life insurance and financial services you need to protect your family's future. Celebrating our 50th anniversary with you is an important milestone for us. Whether guiding a devastated client through the loss of a home fire or advising everyone through the confusing and unsettling new healthcare laws, we're always proud to be here for you. Yes, you can buy just about anything on the internet. But if you want peace of mind and professional, caring advice, call on King Insurance and Financial, a proud member of Think Local First, 688-1434, or visit us online at santacruzinsurance.com.
Welcome back. You are listening to the Think Local First radio show. I'm your host, Matthew Swinnerton, and I am with my guest this afternoon, William Au, Darren Oden, and Christopher McGilvray. I'm still going to work on that one, but I think I got it.
You're doing it.
So anyway, we couldn't do this show without our supporters, without our sponsors. The first one we have for today is King Insurance and Financial. They do personal insurance, your car, all that kind of stuff, but they also do business insurance. How important is it to have insurance for your business, guys? What do you think?
It's extremely important. It's you'd run a giant risk if you didn't have it, and it's something. And if you're in business and you want to be successful, you must have it.
It just helps you sleep at night. I mean, that's one of the things that I always like to say. I mean, without it, I don't think I'd ever sleep because I'd know, all the liabilities that we have.
So it's not the fun thing, but it's the one, like I said, helps you sleep and gives you peace of mind.
Totally.
Also, we have Staff of Life, the locally owned natural food store. Do you guys any of you go to that store?
Yeah, I like to go to that store because I got a 2-year-old son, and he's very difficult to take to the store because, he likes to run around and we got to put him in the cart. But Staff of Life is awesome because it actually has those shopping carts that have the car on the front, and he's totally in that car obsession phase. So awesome. He can be totally engaged the entire time. So
perfect.
I like that.
Great, thank you. Okay, so now we talked to Chris, and now we're going to talk to Darren. Now, I feel like, Darren, I know you pretty well. Your office is right on the other side of the wall of me in Next Space. We do a lot of projects together. It seems to me that you've had a lot of career choices in a way, that's really colored your career now. Can you kind of give me a overall view, an umbrella view of Darren Oden?
I don't know that we have that much time.
In 4 minutes.
I've had a couple of jobs.
Yeah.
I've grew up on I'd probably get my work ethic from growing up around farms and ranches, and that drove a lot when I got my first real job outside of farms and ranches for D.A. Davidson, a financial company up in Montana. And then I ended up spending a little bit of time as an EMT and firefighter, but in every job that I've had, I've ended up being doing a lot of design, and somehow I was always the computer guy that was called in to do something. Hey, you know something about them box things over there in the corner, right? And eventually, when I ended up outside of the other side of a dot bomb. Down, right out sizing, whatever you want to call it, during the dot bomb. I ended up spinning up my first iteration of business. I'm on my 3rd or 4th iteration. I get to the point where I end up, and all of them have been design and development businesses.
Design and development and what? I mean, give us the elevator speech of what Oden Media, Creative Media is. Sorry.
Oden Creative Media is, that's the most important thing is bringing a creative flair to provide an answer for customers' needs. A person may come to me asking about a website, but really they may need a lot more than a website, and likely they do. And media comes across in video, photography, print design, logos, all that kind of stuff. So
it's not just, I know a lot of times we think of a website, it's I need a website. Yeah. But there's pictures, there's creative content you need to put in. There's, like I said, video, there's a lot more.
Social media, you need to be able to get, how do you get people to the website? I mean, it's much more than...
What's the purpose of the website? Yeah.
Right. You have to understand it may be that creative director and systems architect or software architect is not quite. It's probably more of a business needs architect and helping provide that solution in the end.
I think what's different about Darren compared to maybe other web development companies is a lot of times you'll have like a web design company, and that's all you do is design. And yeah, it looks beautiful, but is it functional? Like Darren really knows the back end, and that's so important. So if I go to my tablet, if I go to my phone, it's going to look good. It's not going to be all tweaked and weird. Sure. Yeah, and I can go on and on, but I think that's where your strength is. So
yeah, when I'm looking at systems architect, the full creative, I look at the solution and I'm really deeply interested in understanding what the final needs are and what's going to take them from what they think they need to what they really need and how it's going to serve the customers and their and when you're talking about design, it's based off of the Latin word designate, which is a designation is about getting from point A to point B. So how do you get from point A to point B? Design isn't about beauty. Beauty can follow along, but it's about functionality, effectiveness, and some of the best design. You don't even know it exists. You walk into a room, you flip on a switch. Yeah. You've never been in that room. How did you know where that light switch was? It's because someone followed the design layout.
I think that's a really important note for, being a creative that's also going to be an entrepreneur and, especially working in kind of a corporate space. It's really about effective communication, and it's about, being able to set up goals with the client up front, know exactly what those are and make sure that that's really what drives the project. I mean, there's so many people that can make you absolutely gorgeous looking things that, literally don't drive to the, call to action at the end. And that's not really going to make anybody happy because that's really not what it's about. It's about making sure that you use that creativity to, make the message communicated as effectively as possible.
Great. So thank you, Darren, for our Latin lesson for today.
Yeah, dude. I'm stoked you got that in there.
We actually get educated on this show.
Linguistics is important.
Just don't let it happen again. Okay.
It's not dead, man. It's still living right over there.
Yeah. Okay, now we have William Au. So again, he's the owner, broker of Au Properties, and the owner and manager of the University Business Park. Before we get into it, so you got University Business Park. Is that different than the Wrigley Building?
It's one and the same. It's University Business Park is what is noted as our legal entity, and that's what it was originally positioned as. Everyone knows it as a Wrigley Building, so we use that synonymously. Where if we give it as a designation at a place as a landmark, we say the Wrigley Building. It's just easier to do it that way.
Yeah.
Of course, so when we say things like University Business Park, people are confused, and we just say the Wrigley Building. They got it.
The Wrigley Building has such a cool sound to it. Yeah, it's like everybody knows
it's
the Wrigley Building.
Yeah.
It doesn't smell like gum anymore in there.
There are areas that.
Oh, it is? Really?
There are little secret places that do still smell like gum.
Oh yeah.
That sugary scent.
Yeah.
Where does it smell like gum?
It's funny. It's like deep in the hallways or deep in walls. If you all of a sudden crack a wall open, or sometimes we have to do demolition.
You guys should do
juicy fruit.
Gum scented tours.
We were just doing some improvement, and our wall guy was taking out an old fire stop, and he got rained on by Hubba Bubba.
What? Are you serious? Yeah. Was it soft or was it really hard?
No, this is the funny thing. So it was soft, and they bring it to the office thinking, this is great. This will be an awesome archive. We're going to box this and be our little...
Dude, you should send it back to Wrigley.
Yeah. So we're thinking we're going to showcase this because we have a little museum there of stuff.
Awesome.
And then days later, we can't find it. And the pack was slowly being unwrapped as someone was chewing it.
Oh,
dude, that stuff will last. Like a
it does last forever. Yeah.
It was so funny. I'm like, I can't believe someone ate our. And I think it stopped being produced in like '87, right?
So 25 years ago.
Yeah. So it's like, it was incredible.
Twinkies.
Totally.
Yeah, and cockroaches. Those three things.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, sorry.
But one thing I was just going to mention just briefly is that you brought the idea that creativity and entrepreneurship, is it exclusive? Is it unique? But to me, every entrepreneur is creative. I think that what drives someone to be an entrepreneur who doesn't want to do the typical 9 to 5 or wants to do something different is because they have a drive that there's a creative side or something that just they want to be out of the typical box a bit and want to control their destiny. And so I think you'll find that every time you talk to an entrepreneur, doesn't mean they're always successful, but they're always going to be creative in one facet or another. So
yeah, they want to or they have to. I mean, sometimes like people like will go crazy if they're like stuck in a cubicle 9 to 5. Yeah,
I would die.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, totally.
I couldn't.
I wouldn't make it a week.
Yeah,
There's no way.
yeah, and some people love the security of that.
Sure.
Even though how the economy works, there really is no security in that. So sometimes I feel as an entrepreneur, I feel like it's in your own hands.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have a lot more control.
Yeah, there's
sure.
abundance. There's always something you can do. Yeah.
But for a lot of people, that's also really fearful. They feel that is insecurity, and that makes people feel really anxious or really apprehensive or just they don't feel comfortable, which is good because I think if everyone's an entrepreneur, this probably country wouldn't function.
Yeah, no.
You have to have the workhorses,
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, if we call customer service to fix our software,
totally.
Someone's working on their startup on the other end. Yeah, which that happens.
If everybody was a director, there would be no photographers.
Exactly.
That's right.
Sound
That's
guys.
Totally. Nothing would ever get done. There'd be nothing but conflict.
Yeah.
That's not my vision.
Yeah.
Totally. Exactly.
Okay, so I want to get back to William. So when I think of Owl Properties, I thought it was kind of like your dad that started the whole thing. And then you have your brothers, right? You have
I do.
2 brothers?
I do. I have 2 younger brothers.
Okay.
So the way it works is that the Au family, synonymous you hear it in town, was ultimately started by my grandparents. Okay. And it was started from a small mom and pop, being in a small market, just trying to do the American dream and get their little, niche of opportunity. And luckily, by having a strong, cohesive family, it's passed now down to, in effect, our 3rd generation, which is I'm a part of, and then we have now parts of our 4th generation coming online to help us. By having a large family, we keep primarily everything in-house. Everyone has different roles that they play. It gives us, huge strength that we work in unity and work together. And so, the fact myself, my brothers, my cousins, and so on, we're able to take advantage of piggybacking off the hard work that ultimately started by our grandparents, my father, who's been instrumental in the success of the family, my aunts and uncles who are part of it, my cousins who are older than myself that are part of it. Allows us to kind of just piggyback and move forward and move on. So, some of the things like the latest project I've been doing, thinking about this now, my God, I've been in this industry for 20 years. And, my latest claim to fame or my pet project just seems to be the Wrigley building, but I've done a lot of other stuff. But it's because of the successes we had in the past, that the fact that, have precedence of doing things that have been successful, and to have the trust of both the family and other people we work with to know that in most cases it's always moving forward, it's always being positive. I like to think of myself as being pretty creative. People who know me that as I'm kind of an information geek. I like no nuances get by me. I may not acknowledge it or sense it, but all details are relevant because all details are relevant to make something of it. And so with the project in particular, it was, the kind of conventional, hey, this is the biggest building in the county. What do you do with this thing? Luckily, we just worked on some other projects prior to that, which kind of gave confidence to say, hey, let's try to tackle this thing. I think for a lot of people,
it's a big project.
It was massive.
Yeah,
people were.
That's not a little store.
a lot of advice to most people in the family were, "Don't do this. This is risky. This is challenging. It's it could be your downfall. Whatever it could be."
But now it's working.
And it's true. It's working.
You're almost filled, right?
Yeah, we're sitting about 91% leased out, and just trying to get the last of the spaces finished through just getting through the city, so on, to turn them over, because I literally have a waiting list of probably almost a dozen people.
That's what I was thinking about. It's not actually, the problem is not filling the space. People want to be there.
Yes.
I mean, you've created this environment where it's, when I think of the Wrigley building, my one impression is because you have such wide aisleways in between.
Yes.
Yeah. I have this one vision that I saw of Robert Blitzer riding his bike. Yeah. Through it, exercising on his cool cruiser. Yeah. But it has a cool vibe in there. I don't know. There's something about it that it's very welcoming.
No, thank you. And that was definitely one of the goals. It was, again, it was kind of a more conventional play of, hey, put big tenants in big spaces and give them a place to flourish. Part of the last probably 3 years, it was kind of one of those things where I'm just responding to the market, and the market, after the 100th time saying I need a small space and I need to be in your, I want to be at your location or somewhere nearby. It was kind of like, hey, maybe we should build them some small spaces and give them some opportunities. So at the same time, trying to do it in a way that has a bit of something extra to it, trying to build a community, try to build something that it's not pure real estate 101. Yes, we have those great wide hallways. Traditionally, it would be like, hey, make the skinniest hallway you can make and make the most
your space.
Yeah, make the most leasable space you could make, right? Yeah. But that would not make it as enticing or conducive for people to want to be there.
Sure.
And then again, it's like, then you have to sell it so much harder because, I'm trying to basically sell something that people don't necessarily want or want as much.
I think also, too, out in that area where the Wrigley building is, I think you took a chance, and I'm glad you did, but there wasn't as much stuff out there, I think, when you first got there. And now that's just a blossoming area.
Yeah.
I mean, like where Kelly's is and
that's
other places.
One of my favorite parts
off
of Santa
Swift.
Cruz.
It's like,
it's
all artsy. And so, I don't know. It's like, it's the new cool part of town.
Yeah, I'm biased, but I completely agree.
Yeah. But I think you're a big part of it.
I'm biased, but I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not just saying this because you're the guest, and I was like, okay, let's be all fun.
Totally true.
What's funny about it is the way I kind of treat it is maybe I'm a little bit selfish and maybe a little bit lazy, but I want all the amenities to be close to me.
Yeah, totally.
But the way I see it is, I think other people in Santa Cruz feel exactly the same way. It's kind of the whole sustainability. It's like, hey, if you could possibly live here, if you could work here, if you could shop here, if you could, within reason, I'm not an isolationist in any way, shape, or form, but if we could keep more of those services in our community, I think people would choose to do so. And so it's just giving them opportunity to hopefully to allow that to happen.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like the really strong side of the urbanization. That's the part that I get really excited about. I went to UCSC and then I moved out of Santa Cruz up to San Francisco, lived there for years, and I came back 2 years ago to, move my family back here and live in Santa Cruz. And one of the things that brought me back was that, Santa Cruz has started to get a little bit of that urbanization. I mean, the west side with things like El Salsichero and Kelly's French Bakery, and Verve is popping up, and obviously Penny Ice Creamery and Assembly, like you were talking about earlier, Matthew. That stuff is so exciting to see popping up in Santa Cruz. That just gets me really invigorated.
Yep. So this was fun and all. We're talking about all the fun stuff of our business, and how great it was to set it up, and it's working great. There must be challenges.
Yeah.
But before that, I've been waiting somehow in some of my events or shows or whatever to get this story of the connection between William and Steve Wozniak. So when we come back, we're going to hear a story. Welcome back, and I'll see you soon.
The first thing they look at is your shoes. Hi, I'm Ellen Gill.
And if they see you in shoes and socks from Sock Shop and Shoe Company, they'll likely look up to you. Hello, I'm Eric Gill.
Sock Shop and Shoe Company has proudly outfitted Santa Cruz County in the best footwear for more than 25 years.
And with your support, we've turned our little Sock Shop and Shoe Company into a one-of-a-kind shoe store that attracts shoppers worldwide.
As the quintessentially locally owned Santa Cruz store, Sock Shop and Shoe Company proudly supports the efforts of Think Local First to promote the locally owned and independent businesses that make our community a special place to live and work.
And we hope you keep in mind all the local entrepreneurs who provide us with such wonderful variety of places to eat, work, and live, and who build a strong local economy for all of us. When you head out to shop, please remember to
Think local first. People will look up to you.
From apples to zebras? Well, you can buy anything online, except peace of mind and professional, caring advice. Hello, I'm Matthew King of King Insurance and Financial. Our family-owned agency is celebrating its 50th anniversary, providing Santa Cruz County businesses and residents with valuable advice. King Insurance is proud of being recognized as experts on the Affordable Care Act, better known as Obamacare. as well as on the insurance products you need to protect your business, home and auto, and on the life insurance and financial services you need to protect your family's future. Celebrating our 50th anniversary with you is an important milestone for us. Whether guiding a devastated client through the loss of a home fire or advising everyone through the confusing and unsettling new healthcare laws, we're always proud to be here for you. Yes, you can buy just about anything on the internet, but if you want peace of mind and professional, caring advice, call on King Insurance and Financial, a proud member of Think Local First, 688-1434, or visit us online at santacruzinsurance.com.
Welcome back to the Think Local First radio show. I'm your host, Matthew Swinnerton, and I'm here with William, Chris, and Darren. So, we talked, again, this is the question that I've been wanting to ask for such a long time. I want to find out the story. William started to tell me a story once about his connection with Steve Wozniak when he was younger. You were 12 years old or so, you said?
It was about that time, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 10 or 10.
So tell us
11,
the
12.
story. I want to hear.
So it was a situation where we were at our family property up in Scotts Valley. We have Kings Village Shopping Center, which is our family's second shopping center. And it's adjacent to what was Sky Park, which was the airport. We had just finished the Scotts Valley roller rink. And one of the things we do, which is it's instilled in us, is that we walk our properties, we look at it, understand it. At the same time, we're sitting there, we're also the maintenance crew. We pick up garbage, we see things we have to do. And so I'm walking with my father and a buddy of mine, and we're doing that, and my dad's pointing out, he's like, hey, there's some garbage there, can you guys go run and go get it and put it in the can? And as we're doing it, we're right at the edge of the Sky Park, and we hear this extremely loud propeller noise.
So that's when it was the airport.
It was a full airport.
Yeah.
Full airport. We hear this, but it's, the airport's probably sunken down around 6 or 8 feet below. Okay. We don't see anything, and all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, literally a plane just plops right in front of us, probably, I don't know, 50 to 100 feet, just dead stop. What? Just dead stop, like a little Cessna 182 or something, just hits the ground hard.
Whoa.
And inside there was 4 guys really in bad shape. And so my father and my buddy, who's a little bit older, ran over to literally pull the people out, and I then jetted to run to go call the ambulance. And it would happen to be Steve Wozniak was flying that plane, and it was the time when Apple, I think, was just starting to boom. They're getting a lot of money. They probably thought, they could do anything, like fly a plane.
Yeah. Totally.
And for whatever reason, probably just went off the runway a little crooked and just did like a 40-foot, Dukes of Hazzard jump. And pulled him out, got him to the ambulance. They went off and did their thing, and I was at an age where I didn't follow it after that, other than until I got an Apple IIe, and when I was 16 years old, unrelated. Yeah. But so that was a connection.
And
so.
he was in the hospital for like 9 months or something. It wasn't like a long time. What? There was something about that. Yeah. So basically, what we're trying to get at is that all your iMacs and everything, we would have not have had them if it wasn't for William Al. Yeah, that's kind of what we're getting.
Totally.
Yeah, he saved, because we know that Steve Wozniak was the one that actually created everything.
The Woz.
Yeah. So I won't go that far.
We don't need to go down that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
totally.
Good. I got that story out of my system. I wanted that story.
That's
Thank you.
a very cool story.
But I want to know. Okay, I'm going to leave open to whoever wants to answer from my distinguished guest here. What challenges did you face, opening up your business? So, like Darren, he worked for a company, and then you were kind of almost even forced into entrepreneurism in a way. A filmmaker, you did it yourself. You, William, and I just want to touch on one thing. You said piggyback it with his family because all his cousins and brothers, but it's not that they're piggybacking and just living off this trust fund. They are all hard workers. I mean, they're pushing it. So it's not I talk to William all the time. He's a busy guy, always creating new things. So it's not you just sitting around. What are some of the challenges that you guys face as entrepreneurs? What do you think? Any ideas on that?
Wow, there's so many.
There is. I know.
Yeah, there's so many.
How long you got?
Yeah.
There's no challenges whatsoever. It's all
It's
just
all
Totally,
easy.
it's all easy. I don't know. I hope people would start a business smarter than I did. We'll put it that way. Because, when I started my business, literally, I didn't have any contacts. Actually, I had some contacts in the film industry, but I didn't really have, any potential clients. We had a very small portfolio of work. It was all, short films that I just made as passion projects. They were good films. I was, stood behind them. But I mean, I literally, had no corporate work. And so basically I was, getting in the room, pitching corporate clients, being like, hey, look at my passion projects that like I've made on the side. Yeah. And, you can see how pretty this stuff is. Don't you have some kind of faith that, I'm going to be able to, basically make your new, iPad app, product demo? And most of the time they said no. So, no, one of the hardest challenges was actually finding people to, have faith up front and, take a risk on me to, see whether or not I could actually do it. And then once I got a couple of projects under my belt and started to build the resume, it's, made it significantly easier to be able to get in the room because, you have something that, shows exactly what you can do. You have a case study of, successful projects and successful clients. So that was one of the biggest challenges I've always found.
Isn't that one of the big, you mentioned about people, kind of supporting you. I mean, all of you have families.
Yeah.
You have to support your families. That's not always an easy thing to convince your wife. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go do my own thing right now. No insurance,
Totally.
No guaranteed income. Yeah. And no, this is really going to work. Really. That's tough for entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I would say that would probably be one of the biggest struggles when you are running your first business or so, and you're all on your own. You have no responsibility to anyone but yourself.
Yep.
That is so much easier. But when you have someone else that's out there that's depending on you,
yeah,
that you have to like make 8 more decisions
Sure.
about, is this really what we should be looking at?
yeah.
Yep.
And then you need to balance your time too.
Yeah,
because
that
as
part's
entrepreneurs, we could work 24/7 in a way. Yeah. But your daughter has soccer practice or like they just want you to be there during dinner or something, or get off your phone. It's that's kind of hard. We talked about it last week. It's like, as soon as you wake up, sadly I do that. I go look at my phone right away.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so hard not to.
Yeah.
But I find that stuff actually really helps me as an entrepreneur because, one of the things that I find is if I get really, really busy and I don't have any downtime, if I'm just working the entire time, my work actually gets sloppier because, you really need a break. You got to be able to just put it down and, rest your brain and, completely, think about something else for a while because otherwise you get too caught up in it. And it's like, you can't see the forest from the trees.
Yeah. You talked about, we mentioned a few weeks ago that you have to go on vacation, you feel.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm lucky as my wife is from Scotland, and so we go back to Europe to go and visit her family and friends pretty much every other year, and that's a long way to go. So we tend to do it for extended periods. This year we went for about 3 weeks, and that has always been one of the best things in my life because I can literally just, completely put everything down. I, don't check my email while I'm there. I'm, literally just get away and take a complete break so that I can come back and be totally refreshed and freak out for about 2 months trying to catch up with all the stuff I missed.
Nice.
I don't know. That's the price you pay, man.
Yeah, I have to completely agree with that. I mean, one of the biggest choices a few years ago when we were starting to talk about having a family ourselves was I didn't want to be a dad in transit. So having a business has allowed me to maintain my presence in my family. And I would have to say that my quality of work has gotten a lot better.
Nice.
Having to be in that spot.
Perfect. Well, I would chime in on that too. It's I have a situation that my wife and I actually work together, and she's amazing. And I'm kind of the 36,000 foot overview guy, and she's really, but just she gets into the details really well, which probably drives her crazy. But we have to do the same thing. It's like I will always work if I've been given that opportunity. So for us to break away, do vacations, do little things that allow us to take a little mental break is key. And I think too, it's important. It's easy being from this community. Is you need to get outside and get perspective, and you
totally
you kind of regenerate. You get creative ideas. We've spent the last couple of years traveling a lot in Asia. And, you have one preconceived idea of what it's like, then you go there and experience it, and you're like, this place is fabulous. I'm like, I'm going to try to bring some of these ideas and thoughts and concepts back to our community and incorporate it into it. So I think it's critical. Travel is so important. So
It is.
Yeah.
So we talked about starting your business. We talked about the challenges. Now, what drives and motivates you to keep on doing what you do, and what's next for you three? Anyone want to start off?
I'll go ahead and start off. I would say that my biggest passion is design, and I recently started up a group that's in town, Design Santa Cruz, and I have a huge passion to be able to bring design from all aspects and try to get all of us to have a communication with each other, because what works with industrial designers, you can get that kind of creativity in with graphic designers or sound designers, game designers, video, photography. We all have some languages that we all speak that are common, and be able to learn off of each other.
Great.
So that's my biggest thing.
What about you, William? What drives and motivates you to keep on going, and what's new?
I'm pretty well driven. One thing in particular for me is I'm immensely proud of being from Santa Cruz and being in Santa Cruz and wanting Santa Cruz to be the best it can. Always wearing and touting it and doing what I can. So it's trying to do whatever's possible within my industry to make it better. So to make more facilities available for businesses and businesses to flourish. We're fortunate that we've, come out pretty strongly out of the recession, and seeing all these companies wanting to come here, be placed here. And a lot of the companies I'm working with lately are not from this area. And I think that's amazing, and I'd love to encourage that. There's obviously groups that would discourage people from wanting to come to Santa Cruz. I'm completely the opposite. I want more companies and people to come here, and I think it's only better for the community. So just kind of doing a lot more of the same.
You gotta, you're doing a good thing. Keep it going. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, how about you, Chris?
I'm kind of driven by the ideal vision that I have for, either projects or, what my business would be like in the future versus the reality of what it actually is. And so, that's one of those things that you find in creatives all the time. It's hard for me to actually watch my work because, I see all the flaws, compared to what the, actual vision was. And one of the things that really motivates me is knowing that, as I improve and, get better at communicating my vision, develop better skill sets and everything, I can get closer and closer to the ideal vision that I had. And that to me is just a really, really exciting thing.
Okay, great. So we are kind of wrapping up the hour. I know we could talk another hour easily on this, but there's some pretty exciting things that are going on soon. We have, I told one of the guests we have 45 seconds, but that was just to wrap up what we were talking about.
Got it.
So Chris,
freaks me out, man.
Yeah, so we have three different things. I want to talk one about the First Friday at the Wrigley Building. Yeah, so can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So it's a big one. First Friday is a huge event in Santa Cruz in general, and we typically will host one every other month. And our next big one is going to be October 3rd, which is First Friday, typically from about 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to have actually some pretty interesting music performers. Some of the individual tenants will have performances in their spaces. Nice. And of course, the main showcase is art. So that's really big. So if you can come out to the Wrigley Building between 6 and 8 on Friday the 3rd, that'd be great.
Trust me, they have a great show for First Friday. And then the next one was
So tomorrow, actually, Santa Cruz Mountain Brewing, in concert with, I believe it's Save Our Parks, is holding their Sausage Fest, which is basically their Oktoberfest, over in the parking lot where we also have the farmers market on Saturdays, but this will be tomorrow and Sunday. And I believe it's from 12 to 4. And I think they're going to have 7 food vendors. They're going to have a bunch of beer vendors, usually great music and so on. And they were pre-selling tickets. And I think there's a total of 1,200. I think there's maybe 300 left. So if someone goes to the gate early, they could probably get it, but then it will be sold out, and I think they'll limit access. So usually it should be perfect conditions. Thankfully, we've had rain, so all the dirt will be nice and nice and green and dust free, and should be warm. So I think it's going to be an awesome event. So tomorrow from 12 to 4.
Awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Okay, then Chris.
Yes.
What is going on? What's some big event that's going on soon?
Well, so
event?
I am also president of the board of the Santa Cruz Film Festival, and we have the Santa Cruz Film Festival is coming up here. It's November 13th to the 16th. We're actually going to have our kickoff party on the first Friday in November at November 7th, and that'll be down at Cosmic. They're an awesome design firm. It's downtown. They actually have redesigned our website that we're going to be launching in a couple weeks here in October. And I'm really, really excited about this year's festival. I actually have been working closely with Matthew to kind of, rebrand it. Our marketing campaign is this rethink idea, and the idea is to rethink the viewing experience so that you actually make more of a unique viewing experience. One of the things that I find it's very, very difficult with the theatrical experience is that a lot of people are like, oh, I can just watch that movie on DVD. I can watch it at home. Well, we're trying to present actual unique experiences that can't be replicated at home.
So when is the film festival again?
November 13th to the 16th.
November 13th. And when will tickets be?
Tickets are going to be available probably about October 15th.
Okay, great.
Where's it at?
It's actually at the Del Mar's opening night, and then we have a couple of venues. Rio Theater is one of our main venues, and then we have a couple of cool alternative venues we'll be telling you guys about a little bit later. It's exciting.
So 3 awesome events. There's never a shortage of events going on in Santa Cruz. It seems like every night there's a meeting or meetup or group, or every weekend there's some event happening, whether it's beer or sausage or hot sauce or something. So we have some fun things to go. Yeah,
totally.
We also have the Think Local First is throwing the Eat Local First event. That's October 11th at the Aptos Farmers Market. That's, like 5,000 to 8,000 people come through there. So if you want to show off your food, maybe give some samples out, go ahead, you can join Eat Local First. They have some space left for some vendors. So you can contact, actually I can point you in the right direction. Just email me, Matthew at eventsantacruz.com, and I'll point you in the right direction. Lastly, we are looking for an intern producer for this show. So if you want to get involved and help us to pick awesome guests like we had today, or help us with recording the show, go ahead so we can send a podcast out, please do. That's basically it.
Awesome.
So awesome. Yes. So that's it for the show. Tune in next week. On Saturday, 2:00, we have Ted Holliday to be one of our guests, plus others, and many more. So again, thank you very much for tuning in to the Think Local First radio show. Thanks, guests. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Matthew.
From Capitola to Carmel, Red Hot News Talk, AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz.